Hi everyone, welcome back to the Controversial Podcast. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Shadrach Sibiya, the suspended Deputy National Commissioner under Crime Detection. Shadrach Sibiya is being questioned at the ad hoc committee, and I feel like he's not being honest with us. He keeps on contradicting himself. We've learned that there's also a baby mama issue, there's also baby mama drama. I wish Umkhonto Party pressed hard on that question because now we are wondering whether Shadrach Sibiya, whether he hired his baby mama unlawful and maybe they were doing crime together. We just don't know about that. Shadrach Sibiya was questioned about Madlala. The ANC chief whip questioned him about Madlala, was asking why this Madlala guy is always complaining to you about his tender issues. You are a policeman, you are a general, you are now dealing with tender issues. The shame he couldn't really give relevant answers. He was just talking and talking, and it's very difficult to understand that man. I don't know. Just forget that English is not our native language, but Sibia does not know anything about his work. As I've stated yesterday, this man does not know anything about his work, and I think this was just a cadre deployment because, wow, I understand now why the provincial commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, was frustrated about this guy. He's cocky, he does not know what he's doing. It's funny to me because there's actually strong evidence linking him to Matlala, but he's trying by all means to deny everything. The Umkhonto Party also asked him about the questionable characters that he knows. The guy was like, no, I didn't know that these people questionable characters. Even the DA member of parliament, the chairperson of that committee, Ian Cameron, and said you are judged by the company that you keep. And all the people that he knows are people who are very rogue in the SAPS. He didn't know that these people were doing dodgy things. This general is all over the show. He's trying to be a victim in all of this and keeps on blaming General Mkhwanazi. Says he's the innocent guy here. He also blames Kumalo, General Kumalo. You know, I'm talking about the man who denied that in the SAPS they have factions. But all of a sudden, when he was asked, he said, yeah, there are problems in the SAPS. He keeps on saying this like SAPS from KZN. I'm talking about General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, Kumalo. He also said the National Commissioner supports the KZN SAPS members. He's actually right that they don't get along. The generals don't get along. There's two types of generals. The ones that are working hard, trying to clean up the corruption, are the ones that are hated, and the ones that are doing dodgy stuff with criminal cartels want those generals to be arrested and they want them gone. So you can see that there are so many issues. I liked what the other member of parliament that belongs to Action SA, when she asked him about January 8 statement event of the African National Congress. Why was the deputy commissioner there? Like, it makes no sense. You are a top cop, you are attending those events. You can tell this guy was just deployed by the African National Congress to protect their interest because he keeps on blaming Mkhwanazi, he keeps on blaming the PKTT. At some point denied that the dockets were at his office, but when he was interrogated, he said no, they were under my office, but not exactly in my own office, so they were under him. It's very difficult to follow his testimony because he's not being honest with us. He lied. He even lied and said Mkhwanazi is being funded. People like him. Yes, people are going to like the general because General Mkhwanazi has been consistent with his testimony ever since he came out on the 6th of July. Remember that briefing where he made explosive allegations about the judiciary, about members of parliament, the criminal cartels that we have here in South Africa, the drug cartels, how they are controlling the state. He also brought evidence in the Matlanga Commission he also did the same thing at the ad hoc committee. There was no way that that guy was just lying. It's very easy to believe him. And I'm sorry, it's very hard to follow Shadrach Sibiya's testimony because he even forgets that he lied. He'd be like, "Oh, I made a mistake." We just know that General Shadrach Sibiya is a dodgy man because he was also implicated in the Senzo Miwa murder trial. You know, he really tried to silence the whistleblower, Patricia Mashele, and he went to the court and he didn't win. He lost. No, he lost that case, and Mashele defended her actions. She stated that her posts regarding Sibuya are the truth in the public interest, and what she had said about him was, in any event, already public knowledge. And it's funny because when he was asked about Senzo Meyiwa case, he got so excited, and then he explained his story. And I remember it was the Umkhonto Sizwe, a member of parliament, who asked him about his involvement in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. He started giggling and then he explained his long story. Like, really, it really didn't make sense for me because he's been mentioned in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial so many times. They stated that Sibiya tampered with the evidence in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, and you know, they're trying so hard to arrest those guys. Apparently, there's 5 guys who are charged in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, and there's actually 2 versions. One version, they believe that there was no intruder. Senzo Meyiwa was shot by those people who were with him. On the other side, Gininda and the likes of Sibiya are saying that they were intruders. Like, their story doesn't make sense at all. But I'm just going to put the clip where Sibiya was explaining. Got so excited. You can tell that this guy is just lying. He's just lying to the nation. I don't want to believe him. And I think at this point, he should be arrested because his story is not consistent. Like, it's very difficult to follow him. He just wants to discredit General Lamkwanazi, and it's not working out for him, Shame. It's definitely not working out for him.
I'm actually happy that I'm being asked on the issue of Senzo Meyiwa, and it's an issue that I wish I could spend time on it to clarify so that finally South Africans can get to hear the truth. And allow me, Chair, to deal with this Senzo Meyiwa issue. When after Senzo Meyiwa was killed, I was the head of the Hawks in Gauteng. I was at home in Pretoria. I got a call from the acting provincial commissioner, who was General Musikiri at that time. I was at home at night. I didn't even know about the shooting. And it was around about 11 at night. And remember, Senzo was killed after 7:30, around about 7:30, early evening. And what I had to do as the head of the Hawks was to call a team to say, let's meet there. It's just like when a serious crime has been committed, we move, we go there. And what happened there is that as we moved, all of us, we got there. I ran straight to hospital. And simply because of the fact Senzo Meyiwa is a national key point. It's a national asset. It's not ordinary member where someone can say someone has been gunned out, then as the head of the house, I'll also go there. But because it was a national goalkeeper, we all had to react, and we went. Even General Musikiri, who was the acting provincial commissioner, we all went and we met at the police station, at the hospital. When I got to the hospital, it was packed, even in the passage, even in the ward where he was lying motionless. And everybody was crying there. Even myself, I could not make my way through into the ward. I saw him lying inside there, but from outside the ward. And then I realized that it won't work. I then said to General Musikiri, I will go to the house where now the investigation must start, because now the investigation process had to start. Now, for the investigation process to start, we then had to go to the scene of crime. When we get to the house where it happened, it was packed. Outside the yard, inside the yard, there was up and down movement in the house. I'm well trained when it comes to investigations. I'm 37 years doing what I'm doing. The very first thing is to take charge of the scene of crime. Mine was to give instructions and say, please secure the scene, preserve the scene. This is a scene of crime. Now, the team had to make sure that they remove everybody on site to outside the yard so that it can be cordoned. The scene of crime can be cordoned. Remember, I arrived late at night when this thing happened almost after 7:30, and the scene was already processed by the officials. It was processed, cleaned. The experts have done their work. Now, when I arrived there, I also found MEC Sizakele Nkosi Malobane and other generals were there. Now, ours, we come here as a fact-finding team. We come in here, we knock, we sit down in the sitting room. It's clean, there's no blood, there's no spotty that you can see, everything is in place. And then we sit, we listen, we ask questions, what happened? This one explained, this one explained, this one explained, this one explained. This is the normal course of attending to crime scene. The MEC was there also, we were all listening. And then from there, General Musigiri and them came, arrived from hospital to join us. There were other generals, including General Musigiri. We all listened.
Share your views on this one. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's be respectful on the comment section. Let's not be emotional. And whether you agree or you disagree with me, just leave a comment. And yeah, please like this video, share it, subscribe. Thank you. Bye.